everyone, welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thanks for joining me. Back at it again with another video today. Wanted to talk to you guys all about Venus going through the sign of Leo. Very excited to chat about this. We're going to take a look and preview at all the aspects that Venus will be making through her trek through the feisty, fiery fixed sign. If you're new to my channel, do me a favor, click the subscription button below so you are alerted when I have new content coming out on the channel. We're putting out videos almost every other day. We have live shows on Saturdays if you guys want to pop in and get readings. We have horoscopes. The more that you guys share and get this out there and interact with the channel, the more growth that we see. So big thank you to all of our new subscribers, everybody who has been supporting the channel with their donations or memberships. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Boy, oh boy, you know, this is the one transit that I kind of left out of horoscopes, and I did it intentionally because I really wanted to just take a look at what was going to be going on with some of the aspects, knowing that Venus was going to be moving through a solar sign, so she was going to be quite active, and that she would come into some of the same similar fixed squares that we saw similar to Mercury when Mercury went through Leo, and the Sun going through Leo as well. Now we know that the North Node in Taurus, which is all about focusing on art, beauty, pleasure, security, you know, all of our fine senses, is going to put an emphasis all year long when Venus changes signs. So for the last several weeks, we've seen Venus actually going through the cardinal water sign of Cancer, sensitive, emotional, homey, right? And very lunar because it's going through a lunar-based sign. So now it's almost like Venus is emerging and coming out of the seashell and coming out to play. So we're going to see some very different Venus energy throughout the month. If you guys stay tuned to the end, I'm going to go through all the 12 signs, tell you about where Venus is moving through in your chart and what blessings she will be bringing along with a tarot card. So stay tuned. Let's go ahead and get started. So I just want to give you guys the dates. We're going to talk a little bit about what this feels like, and then we're going to take a look at what Venus is doing. So kicks off on August 11th, 2022. Venus enters into Leo, 0 degrees, right around the time of that full moon in Aquarius. So it's interesting to kind of see that polarity. No exact oppositions, nothing like that. Actually, the first few aspects that Venus is going to be making through this sign is going to be quite positive. But anytime you see a planet at 0 degrees, it's the real full embodiment of that sign, right? So from August 11th through September 4th, we're going to see Venus move through the fire sign of Leo. And what is Venus? Venus rules attraction, women, preferences, relationships, money, harmony, right? Socializing. And so when Venus changes signs, you're definitely going to feel it when it goes from a lunar sign to a solar sign. I'm really interested to see what happens during the first kind of few aspects that she's making before she gets into the fixed square, because I feel like it can actually be a little bit of like positivity and blessing for everyone. When I think of Venus also, I think of like opening up, kind of like a flower. So to see it go through this solar sign and then also make aspects to Jupiter, there is going to be really good cosmic blessings for everybody across the board, which really kind of helps us coming off of the intensity of this Aquarius full moon. Now, when we see this shift happen, there's going to be an emphasis now on Leo-related things. So it's going to be romance, fun, playtime, drama, attention, recognition, pride, right? All the Leo things. Dressing up, romantic dinners, playing that role, and really romanticizing things. Venus in Leo has this connection to the heart space, obviously, and it's really warm. It kind of reminds me of like sunflowers and honey and sunshine, but also the need to tap into our own inner kind of romantic, you know, energy. So it can be romanticizing our lives, romanticizing our friendships, our projects, our hobbies. And we're going to feel a little bit more willing to take risks when it comes to, I think, love and relationships. Venus in Leo also, it has a sense of regalness to it. You know, I think of like gold and gifts and flowers and like all of these things. So everything's going to be a little bit bigger going into this sign, especially as we start seeing Venus come into the trine with Jupiter in Aries. Now, like I said, because Venus rules the North Node, We're going to look to see kind of what's going on there, because that is going to not only make aspects to the planets in Taurus, but it's going to flavor that. Interesting that we also have Mars that's in the last few degrees of Taurus going on the next week or so, and Uranus is there too. So as Venus goes through Leo, it's creating an impact on that Mars-Uranus conjunction point. It's saying that in order for us to come more so fully into embodiment, right? Taurus being in our bodies, we have to play, we have to have fun, we have to be kind of touchy-feely and lovey-dovey. Venus in Leo definitely likes like the heavy petting, right? You think of it being like a cat sign. So that's something else that kind of comes up with some of these aspects that we start really focusing on having more touch in our life, and possibly a little bit more warmth as well. Very sun-kissed in the sign of Leo. And it's active, so because traditionally, you know, the sun is what rules Leo, it's interesting that we also have the sun that's going to be, you know, for another couple days in Leo while Venus moves in there. Now they won't conjunct, they're not going to get close. We're actually not going to see another Venus cazimi until we get into the tail end of Libra season. But that's still saying that there's something about self-love. There's something about our own happiness, our own joy, our own hobbies, our pleasures, our pastimes. And I think a lot of people are going to be finding that both because of the full moon in Aquarius, but also because of just the transits that are going to be in Leo in general, that there's a sense of really focusing on something that might take our mind off of things. It's like, okay, I want to skip, you know, play hooky, skip going to work and take a mental health day and go to Disneyland. Like, that's the kind of energy that you see when you see, you know, conjunctions or transits through Leo that opposes Saturn and squares Uranus. So we're going to see a little bit more of that taking place. But yeah, because this is a solar energy, we want to watch what's going on with the sun, because anytime the sun is making aspects as well, that is going to be highlighting Venus's transit. Now, if we take a look at where Venus is going to be kind of moving through, I'm going to take you guys through the next month really quickly. It's going to start first with the 17th through the 18th of August. And what I have noted here is that this is when Venus in Leo comes into a trine with Jupiter in Aries, okay? So we see Venus coming in within about a degree, forming that nice 120-degree angle to Jupiter. Trines are free-flowing energy, so we're going to see things kind of pop wide open. The fact that it's happening also in fire signs means that it's very quick-moving. There can be inspiration. There can be a need for excitement, more drama, kind of moving around, right? And when we see positive aspects, I think, between Aries and also Leo, there is a sense of courageousness. We're more daring, we're more theatrical. Certainly there's definitely a lot more drama. So the drama is already kind of, that volume is cranked up over the next week because of this full moon. But Venus in a trine to Jupiter, the two benefics, right? We've got Jupiter, which brings blessings, it expands things, it's about teaching, philosophy, travel. In the sign of Aries, it's giving us more courage and the need, while it's retrograde, to reevaluate our own personal beliefs. As it trines Venus, I think that we are re-evaluating our beliefs when it comes to love, money, values, relationships, lovers, art, you know, so there is a sense of that kind of popping. So we'll talk a little bit about where that's taking place for each and every one of the 12 signs, but just know that this particular trine, I think, is pretty positive in the midst of some other stuff that's kind of going on cosmically. Can be wonderful days for romance, can be wonderful days for relationship stuff. Now, granted, the day that this happens, the day of and the day after, we are seeing that there is a moon in Taurus square Venus. But I think that that can just be really sensitive. I think that that can be like, oh, I need more pleasure. I need something finer, something richer, you know, like flowers or chocolate, things like that. So you might be finding a little bit more indulgent this day on the 17th and the 18th. So you're going to feel that trine, yeah, about those 2 days. And then we're going to take Venus to the next aspect. This is going to be on the 24th, excuse me, the 25th, 24th and the 25th. On these 2 days, we're going to be seeing that Venus comes into a square with the nodes of the moon. So you'll be feeling that. once again, you know, we saw this with the sun. It's like something, there's a spotlight on something. So I think on the 24th and the 25th, we then open up to changing something about our relationships. We open up to changing something within our heart space. I could literally see it being a lot of work revolving around opening up, you know, being emotional, being sensitive, being receptive. Obviously it's a little wacky because you're also going to see a square to Uranus in the midst of this as well. So similar to when the sun squared the nodes and then it squared Uranus, it was like, I need this, I'm changing that. So it's an anything goes period. Venus in a hard aspect to the nodes, I think, is really bringing about really important relationships or people, right? Or talents or skills or things that are more pleasurable into our life to get us to really think and reflect on, you know, what is it that brings us joy? What fills our own cup? So look for that on the 24th and the 25th. It's been my experience looking at like natal charts where people have Venus square the nodes. There is a really significant like instrument that they learn how to play in their life, or a relationship or a series of relationships that come in that is about clearing out the past and moving into the future. This can be a time where like a prominent woman can come into your life, or women can be like a huge emphasis, or femininity. And in Leo, it's a solar sign. So it's about women really embracing their true nature. And I think of like the lioness, like giving her roar. Big hair, big bangles, big jewelry energy, and anything that's just about being able to kind of lean into that very kind of like it's Beyonce energy. I don't know what else to explain it to you guys, but it's gonna be big energy. And being that Venus does have connections to queens, it's about how are we acknowledging and I think positively allowing the goddess to emerge within ourselves and also within society, and not feeling threatened by that. So it's going to be a more kind of solar feminine energy. So you're going to see that on the 24th and on the 25th. At the same day, we're also going to see, outside of the square to Uranus, we're going to see that Venus is going to be in a trine to Chiron. I like it. I like it a lot better than some of the conjunctions or squares that we've seen this spring. I feel like Venus in trine to Chiron at a 15 is like, we can talk about it, we can heal it, right? So Venus almost in a way is like blowing kisses to Chiron, or bandaging some wounds, or saying, yes, it hurt, but what did we learn from this? Or it can give us the opportunity to like make up in some way. Still in a fire sign, it's saying that, you know, there's ways to smooth things over. So if you find that there's been some frictions in relationships recently, a date night, going out, you know, doing something sweet. Venus in Leo, if you have that natally, it's like you really appreciate being pursued. Like you want to be laying around and fed grapes and, you know, being fanned with your headdress on. It's just, it's very regal. So I could see some people that are focusing on tending to their own wounds and really nurturing themselves and giving themselves a pat on the back or appreciation, or just a lot of self-love for whatever they have been able to overcome. But in relationship to others, where we can show up and do something that is like a little bit more generous and warm and courageous, or kind of just big, to be able to apologize if there's been some rough patches that have been going on. So that's really great for kind of like makeup energy. I think we're going to see this also going into, like I said, the 25th, because then the moon comes into conjunction with Venus. Unusual astrology, guys. Venus square the nodes isn't that bad. Venus trine Chiron ain't that bad, but Venus conjunct the moon in itself is sweet, but it's going to square Uranus. One thing that the fixed squares has been teaching me, and it's been really difficult, is that it's really important to practice giving people, like practice grace and giving people a second chance, and not feeling like you need to kind of cut people off just because they did X, Y, and Z. It's really easy to issue ultimatums when we're seeing like oppositions to Saturn, squares to Uranus, because things happen that we feel like we can't come back from. But I think by the same token, you know, looking at planets in the axis of Leo, the individual, and Aquarius, which is friends and collectives, part of being a good friend is also saying to people like, you know what, I understand. I've been there, I get it, you know, not needing to hash things out and having the drama, not always needing to talk about the past. That's what squares to the North and South Node are about, the past and the future. You may find yourself in the midst of some of these transits, especially at the end of August, that's like, I don't want to rehash it. I don't want to rehash the past. I don't want to open that wound again. yes, that happened, it took place. I'm sorry. I'm all about solutions. I want to talk about where we're going, not where we've been. So for many people, it can be very therapeutic, giving a little bit of love and practicing compassion and trying to put ourselves in other people's positions to better understand that, you know, sometimes we have to do that in order to move forward. Sometimes we have to forgive. Now, obviously, it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. I'm not saying we give everybody a free pass across the board, and we won't because of the squares to the nodes in Uranus. It's almost like saying, like, we're not going to say to somebody, don't let it happen again. It's going to be like, hey, this hurt, and it was really difficult for me to move on, and I'm going to forgive you, but I can't go back there again. You know, we need to have new solutions, and how can we be about finding ways to be able to work together so we can maintain healthy balances in relationships, but also maintain boundaries so we're being good to ourselves. So we're recalibrating, guys. This is once again another period in the astrology this month where everybody's kind of uploading. They're moving to the next kind of system. We're becoming 2.0 versions of ourselves. Practice compassion and understanding when you can, and I think that that can really go a long way, and it's going to allow all of us to also unload, right? Let go of whatever weight we've been carrying around, because Taurus is heavy, right? We're seeing squares to North Node Uranus in Taurus, which is what our bodies are carrying around, and we can be carrying around this physical heaviness. We can be carrying around regret, anger, sadness, remorse and resentment. And I feel like what Leo is teaching us is that we don't have to carry that in our heart space. That, you know, some of the changes that are happening in the world right now are really difficult for people. People seem to be very threatened by truth right now, whether that's truth out in the world or personal truths. And what I'm realizing is that those who are fighting back and they're resisting that, or they're resisting change or vulnerability, are doing so because certain people stepping up and speaking their truth out in the world and in our own lives can be really scary and a very threatening thing for some, because it challenges what they have always known. Relationships they've always been in, that's been status quo. It challenges their belief systems about, you know, the world and their own personal security. So I think as some of these things get shaken up, it's really important for us to remember that we're all on different timelines here. Not everybody is going to be super self-aware. A lot of people who are kind of spiraling right now and having issues with this are coming about purely because it's almost like the rug's being pulled out from underneath them. So a little kindness and a little compassion will go a long way. On the, like I said, the 25th and the 26th, we're going to see that, you know, Uranus is at 18 degrees. It's retrograde now. Venus goes to 18 degrees at on August 26th and moves to square that same degree where we had the Mars-Uranus conjunction. Now, Mars and Uranus are not conjunct any longer. But when I think about Venus in a square to where that Mars was, it can create friction, but it can also create chemistry. So it can basically be like, once again, lots of opportunities for making up and like friendships making up and individuals being more understanding and accepting. And we can actually see a lot of like togetherness that can be going on. It's coming into a new moon phase. So the next day we're going to see a new moon in the sign of Virgo. And still a little bit of friction, you know. Then we're going to see some Sun-Mars squares, but the fact that the 18 degrees of Taurus is being reactivated, watch for this, because it's definitely going to be bringing something up that you've been working through since that conjunction happened, right? And that was at the end of July, beginning of August. But now are we opening up to those changes? Are we adjusting to whatever kind of came about? How can we be more open and receptive to allowing more love in, letting more of the light in, because it's in the sign of Leo? So sunshine, warmth, happiness, hot herbs, warm baths, playtime. I mean, like, these are the remedies for the end of August if you are struggling, especially if you have any planets within that, like, you know, 16 to 22 degrees of the fixed signs. I mean, we need a little bit more light in. Open the blinds. Then on the 28th of the month, we're going to be seeing that Venus in Leo then comes into the opposition with Saturn. Now, you're going to feel it a couple days before, but I'm working with about a 1-degree orb. So here's that new moon in Gemini, and we've got Venus in opposition to Saturn, still in a square to Uranus. I could see a lot of people closing things out and like clearing things out right before the new moon. It's just natural. It's what we do before we get into that quiet space where we want to focus on new cycles and manifestation. But this is a still a pretty hard grand fixed cross. And when we see Venus that's in opposition to Saturn, similar to when we saw the Sun opposed Saturn, it's like, you know, our goals are far away. Venus opposed Saturn can literally represent separations. You know, we're separating from something. And I've said this in previous broadcasts, but it really reminds me of this with Venus in Leo and Saturn in Aquarius. It's like what the heart can grieve and cry over and be totally just crushed over, the spirit rejoices. So we are going to see some things, you know. It reminds me of that meme. Have you guys seen that meme where you see the little kid that's like holding the toy gun and he's like crying, and it says like when you have to break up with your favorite toxic person and you know you have to do it, but you like don't want to do it. Venus Pluto aspects, you guys know what I'm talking about, or Venus in Scorpio, South Node Scorpio. Just knowing that it's like, this isn't good for me, but I have to do it. I have to love myself more, right? So some of you guys may be going back and forth with like, do I do it? Do I not do it? You know, do I finally remove that friend off of Facebook because I really don't want to hear their political bullshit anymore? Is it time for me to cut that person off that I've been dating because I don't feel like their heart is in it and I really want my person? You know, do I throw away the chocolate cake? I mean, literally sugar, sweetness, right? Leo. So the themes of relationships, love, resources, things are going to feel a little bit out of reach right around this time. And oppositions can sometimes have this opposite effect where it's like, if we're not getting it, we really push for it. One thing that I want you guys to know is like with Venus in a square to Uranus and in opposition to Saturn, whatever you're craving, okay, at the end of August, hold tight. Don't break. So if you're trying to overcome a bad habit, if you're trying to really, you know, give yourself a healthy break from a relationship, if you're taking space from a friendship or from a family member, don't break. Stay with it. Because change can be uncomfortable. Venus square Uranus is uncomfortable. We're feeling it in the body. We may be more inclined to go, oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do without them. And we spiral, and then the body doesn't feel supported. We want to go deeper into the Taurus mansion. We want to buy ourselves flowers, right? We want to sit outside and be in the garden, or we want to drink tea and watch the sun go down. I mean, there are things that literally through connecting to the element of earth can calm us down and not also make us feel so sensitive or touchy when it comes to the idea of needing to separate from groups of people. Literally, Venus is the individual. So we're going to see lots of things going down, I think, at the end of August, where we are now responding to what has been going on all month. Now we are in it. Our heart is super raw, and we're realizing that in order to get to where we need to go, sometimes we have to cut something or someone off. So be gentle with yourselves. Realize that this is some really rather extraordinary astrology that's taking place in August because of all of these grand fixed crosses. But remember, the fixed crosses produce grit. They give us the ability to overcome something. So it is like this very heroic kind of series of events that we go through this year, and then we come out the other side of it, and we're going to realize what it was all for, that whatever we lost or gave up, it was not in vain. It ultimately ended up bringing us closer to ourselves. Then on the 28th, we are going to see the Saturn-Venus opposition. You know, it will be exact that day, although I think you'll be feeling it for a couple days up until that point, so that'll be hanging around for a little bit. And then we get to September 1st, and this is going to be when Venus in Leo is in conjunct or quincunx Pluto. Now, it may take this long for some of you guys to really kind of weed out what has been toxic. The in conjunct or the quincunx is always this uncomfortable angle. They do not make any real aspect to each other, so they're both like kind of in between a trine and also a square. So it's transition, right? And they're kind of pushing on each other. For Capricorn, Leo is 8th house to the sun, or to that sign, so it represents change and transformation, perhaps a total eclipse of the heart in a way. And for Leo, this energy of Capricorn is 6th house to the sun, so it represents delays, breakdowns, things that we're clearing out, focusing on health. So I could see this setting up during you know, Virgo season is like us being like, hey, this isn't healthy. You know, now it's time for it to kind of really go, or it's time for us to stop romanticizing what could have been. Some of us might be doing that because Venus is 12th house to the sun. So there can be this sense of being like, oh, I was in love with this person, but they betrayed me. And like, I always had these rose-colored glasses on. I put them on a pedestal. And now I see it for what it really is. And why is that? Because the North Node in Taurus wants us to have real, solid, tangible love. We want healthy food, good relationships. It wants us to feel stable. It wants our bodies to feel safe. Some of us are in this perpetual trauma drama cycle right now where we are just going through the motions of not processing old pain. We're not processing old heartbreak. We've become so accustomed to living in a state of just like fear or becoming desensitized that sometimes when some of these aspects happen, it's like all hell breaks loose and we realize that we've been repeating the same patterns in relationships for many years, and it may stem and go back to something that's beyond romantic relationships. It might have to do with, you know, family wounding or things from our childhood. So we're learning to finally tend to that, right? And that's what we need to learn while we're having transits through Leo season. So there is a bit of reconciling. You might feel like you're finally clearing something out right around the 1st of September. And then on the 5th of September, we will see Venus will go into the sign of Virgo. So we'll talk more about that next month. Just know that these are going to be the transits for the time being. And yeah, I would say probably, you know, too long didn't read or didn't listen. Things only get more complex as we get to the end of August, and really look for that major sweetness the 17th and the 18th while Venus is in a trine to Jupiter. That's kind of going to be like the best, I think, of all of the transits. Once we start seeing the squares to the nodes and to Uranus, we start to see where there is superficial love and where there is love that is true. Okay, so let's talk to you guys about where this is going to be taking place for each and every one of the 12 signs. Let me pull that up. All right, and I'm going to be working with I'm going to work with the After Tarot today. I thought that'd be a fun one to pull out. I'm going to talk to you guys about which house Venus is going through. That is going to be the area of your life where you're going to see the sweetness get sprinkled. I'm also going to talk to you about what house Venus rules. If you want to hear more specifically about just all the aspects between Saturn and Uranus and how it affects all of the 12 signs, I do this in my horoscopes. So if you go and check out my August horoscopes, you're going to hear where the Uranus end of this is and where the Saturn end of this is, and like how it may potentially play out. So it's on my channel if you guys want to take a look. So I'll let you know which house, what Venus rules, and the theme that I'm kind of picking up that you might notice. But for the most part, like I said, it's a welcome bit of sweetness, I think, for everyone this month. I'm looking forward to it. So we're going to go ahead and start first with Aries and Aries rising. How's it going, Aries? We've got Venus going through your natal 5th house. This is going to be taking place, like I said, from I think like the 11th of August through the beginning of September. So you've got almost a month of this. And Venus rules your 2nd house natally, which deals with money and resources, self-esteem, the money that is your earning power, your spending capability, your materials, right? And it also rules your 7th house of relationships. So as Venus goes through your 5th house, you may find that you're spending a little bit more money with partners. You're spending a little bit more on dates. You're willing to spend a little bit more on having fun, maybe on your children. And it's putting an emphasis on romance, fun, you know, hobbies, taking a brief break. You might feel like with the trines to Jupiter, you're like, yes, let's go somewhere. And it's bringing in some well-welcomed romance for you, with you possibly and another person. So if you're single, you might meet someone because Venus rules your 2nd of committed relationships. If you are in a partnership, you might be really sharing a lot of love with another person and having a little bit more fun and just kind of feeling a little bit more stable and secure in relationships. The 5th house is the love that you give. So you might be feeling a little bit more kind of daring and a little bit more like your inner romantic is coming out and wanting to kind of, yeah, just romance the pants off of someone with this transit going on. And somebody else might be very receptive of that. Just watch your spending. There might be a little bit of spending going on. The card that I got for you is the Six of Wands. So this tells me that you're going to be victorious in your love affair or where you're going. Somebody is going to be welcoming you. You're well received, having a good time. Sometimes this card comes up when you're like getting out of town briefly and you're going somewhere. I could see this as you being like, yeah, let's just get out of town for the weekend. Let's go somewhere and have a good time. Even if you're not partnered, doing so may potentially put you in a position of being able to meet somebody who could definitely be very special for you. Fifth house also is bars, so I would say like you could find yourself going to bars, theaters, things like that, and you might end up either really enjoying yourself with another person or meeting someone. All right, so now we've got Taurus and Taurus rising. Taurus, this is important because you're ruled by Venus, you and Libra, so you guys might feel this a little bit more. Taurus, you've got Venus going through your natal 4th house, so it's bringing you the blessings relating to home and family and your domestic zone. Leo deals with children, so there might be more children around, or you're having more fun with children, or you're having a romantic partner in your home. Maybe you're cooking meals, you know, playing games. Maybe there is like a focus on having like a date night at home, which could be really romantic, lots of candles and flowers. And Venus rules your 1st house of yourself, okay, and your body, and also your 6th house. So I could also see like you are going around the house and organizing and maybe redecorating, or there's like an emphasis in being of service to your family, and that's how you're showing love and appreciation. Maybe you're reorganizing things in your home and wanting to beautify it. But I see lots of opportunity for love from home, family service, anything in regards to that. You're going to enjoy making meals for your family. You're going to enjoy having them over and visiting. You're going to enjoy having, you know, extended relatives come and stay. You guys can have a good time. You can have barbecues. You guys could, you know, be playing games, all that stuff. And I think that it's nice for you, Taurus, because it's going to kind of ground you out a little bit. So if you're really bogged down, if you're tired with some of the transits going on, you got a lot going on your plate with work, your attention's being brought to your home and your family. So when you are having that time, really disconnect from work. You know, don't be fussy. Take the time to kind of spend with people, because I think you're really going to appreciate it, and you're going to see that your family or whoever it is that you're living with, or your private kind of domestic zone, is what you work so hard for. Okay. The card that I get is the World card. This is like you kind of kicking back and being like, yeah, things have been really challenging, but like life is short, and this is what I work hard for. This is what I'm appreciative of. So you're going to be looking around and kind of seeing like, you know what, everything ended up working out. It's okay. Like the universe has your back. You're learning lessons about family. There's also some sense of people coming back around or visiting you who you haven't seen in some time. But this is the final card of the major arcana. So this is saying like you're learning lessons, you're completing karmic cycles, which we know with your oppositions and your squares that you're experiencing, you certainly are. But you're realizing that everything brings you back to home, and that is what keeps you going. For Gemini rising, you have got Venus going through the sign of Leo, and it is transiting your natal 3rd house. Now, Venus traditionally rules both your 5th and your 12th house, so it can be about dating, children, having fun, and self-undoing, things that you don't see, kind of like blind spots, right? That is very Taurus in your 12th house. I feel for you, Gemini, this is going to be a month where you're just very romantic. The way that you're communicating, maybe you're writing music, maybe you're writing poetry, maybe you're having phone calls with somebody, you're up late at night calling them and talking to them if you're apart for whatever reason. If you are somebody who is a filmmaker, a writer, an actor, a musician, wonderful month for you, because I feel like you're going to just feel like the words are just flowing, and you have all of this amazing opportunity to be able to write or put something together that you're feeling divinely inspired by. So you might have a muse also this month that's helping you kind of work through that. So writers, creatives, anything like that. If you write music also, that can be really nice with Venus going through your 3rd. And it can bring about not just romantic talk, but short pleasure trips, and it can also give you the opportunity to receive some kind of help from a sibling or a close family member. There can also be love around the neighborhood. So you're walking around, you're walking your dog, you meet someone. That's the other thing that can be going on with Venus going through your 3rd house. I would also say that you may have some admirers. Like there might be some people who are sending you messages telling you they got a crush on you, want to hang out, want to grab something to eat, or people who are perusing your social media who are kind of seeing what you've got going on and might have a little bit of an interest in you, Gemini. So you might not know it. It might catch you off guard, but you might find out that you've got somebody that's, you've kind of caught their eye. The card that I get is the Emperor. So you're the boss, you know? This is funny because you've got Mars in your 12th house. So that's already kind of lusty, you know, and it's getting ready to go into your sign soon. So I could see with Mars in your 12th house and Venus in your 3rd that you're getting really kind of worked up or kind of turned on about who you're communicating, or maybe you're talking to somebody and just it's very mentally stimulating and you're like, yes. The Emperor tells me that you're getting work done. So you're focusing on communicating in like a bold way. Venus going through the 3rd house, great for getting the point across in a very warm way. Like I think podcasts and creating videos and writing things or publishing stuff, especially like on the internet or social media. You're definitely going to come across as somebody who's like really got it together, and you might be seen as somebody who's just really powerful, right? The Emperor is powerful. But this is the energy of Mars. So it's saying you're channeling like your inner warrior with Mars in your 12th house, and it's really coming through how you communicate with other people. For Cancer and Cancer rising, you have Venus going through now your 2nd house, which deals with your spending power, anything in regards to your money, your resources. It's great for bringing a little bit more money in, especially because the sun is there as well. It's great for also kind of getting a hold of self-esteem stuff and really kind of developing your plans when it comes to what you're going to be buying or what you want to be bringing in. Now for you, Venus rules your 4th house of family and your 11th house of friendships. And I think in this case, it's not just about what money you bring in, it's about how these people prop you up right now. You're going to be seeing lots more love and support, can be emotionally or financially, that are coming from either your family, your roommates, or your friends. Especially if you've been going through a rough time, I could see that you've got friends that are like, you're amazing, you're great, don't sell yourself short. You could have family that's trying to, you know, bring food over or, you know, take care of you, give you gifts. People who are just really building you up and helping you focus on propping up that self-esteem. Yes, it can bring financial gains. Venus through the 2nd house can bring nice, you know, they can bring nice gifts, but this is more something that's yours. So I see it as you realizing that you have talents and people are reminding you of those talents so you can really get your self-esteem in action, realize, you know what, I am worth more. I can do this. And as that Venus kicks into high gear and trines Jupiter in your 10th, likely it's so you can really shine in the professional workspace. Look for that support coming from your friends and family. It doesn't have to be the family that you're born into. It could also be the family that you make. So if you're somebody who's like, my friends are my family, I could see a lot of them helping kind of build you up in that sense. And it's going to be really helpful for you, Cancer. So the card that I get is the Page of Swords. Building off of what I said, I think it's about maybe finding your voice. Perhaps maybe it's about you realizing that it's the beginning process of you starting to communicate in a way where you're talking more highly about yourself. Pages are like an initiatory energy. So it's just something they're just starting. They're kind of sticking their toe in the energy. So with the page being connected to the element of air, it's like, you know what, I think I am going to start telling people that I can dance, or I think I am going to start, you know, telling people that I'm charging more. It's you realizing and coming to terms with the fact that there is a need for other people to recognize your value and what you bring to the table. And so you're just now learning how to communicate and express that and talk more kindly to yourself. Looks good, Cancer. For Leo and Leo rising, this is important because it's happening in your sign. Super awesome to have Venus go through your 1st house. Great time for a little bit of like a tweak or anything in regards to how you're looking. Leos, you guys are coming off of this full moon that's in Aquarius, and it's dinging your whole chart. I could see for those of you guys who are having a difficult time in relationships that there's a glow up. So if you're going through a friend breakup, if you're going through a total change in regards to a relationship, if you are leaving a position at work, whatever, Venus on your ascendant is the glow up, right? So if you have to pamper yourself a little bit, if you have to, you know, go and get a new hairstyle, you get some new jewelry, something like that, totally understandable when Venus is in your sign. Venus rules traditionally your 3rd house of communication and siblings and your 10th house of career. Here's the interesting thing. Even in spite of some of the stuff that you might be going through that feels a little tumultuous with either friendships or family right now or relationships, people are speaking highly about you, okay? You're getting lots of glowing reviews. Because Venus rules your 3rd house, it can be people around the neighborhood talking highly about you. You're getting recognition on social media. You've got, you know, friends or family members that are, you know, speaking highly about you. And also people are really receptive of what you have to say. So there's more love in your day-to-day. I see you being really loud and proud in your appearance. I also feel like you're making a great impression on other people at work because Venus rules your natal 10th house. So for Venus to be going through your 1st, people are seeing, wow, she's doing a great job, you know, and they're going to give you that feedback. They're going to give you the pat on the back. And I know you guys really need it right now. So I'm just going to tell you, you know, take it where you can get it. Really hear people when they're telling you that you're doing an amazing job, because I think it can really kind of add a little bit more pep in your step and also just make you feel good. So if you feel like you got to do something to your personal appearance that's going to give you a little bit more pep in your step, do it. It is your birthday season. The card that I get is the Lovers. Why am I not surprised by this? The Lovers can be talking about temptation, choices, and options. And so perhaps maybe you're looking foxy at the workplace and people are like, hey, walking down the street, people are approaching you. Venus on your ascendant will do that. It's going to give you much more of a warm, inviting, alluring kind of appearance. So having that conjunct your ascendant or your personal planets for a couple days is usually pretty nice. There's lots of sweetness, but this can also be lots of attraction and people who are seeing you or being drawn to you. This is also about choices as you know, do you want to go back there, right? You'll get all the attention with Venus on your ascendant, but let me tell you, be careful as the month goes on, and then you see it come into opposition with Saturn, and then you also start to see it square planets, you know, in the 10th house. You can't give attention to everyone. And there is a sense of you needing to reserve a little bit of this for yourself. So be careful because you might be tempted into doing some things in relationships or at work that you may or may not should be doing. So proceed with caution, but you're not going to be short of getting attention. That's for sure. Virgo rising. You've got Venus going through your 12th house in the sign of Leo. So that can kind of go one of two ways. 12th house can be super lusty, very romantic behind the scenes. There can be lots of opportunities for sexy time and time between the sheets, hanging out and just having romantic time alone with someone. Now, Venus is traditionally the ruler of your 2nd house of resources and your 9th house of travel. I'm wondering, Virgo, are you possibly spending a little bit of money, going out of town, going on a trip with a loved one? Do you have a love that's at a distance? Are they in another place? There might be also much more of an emphasis in you spending money on either travel or film or photography, maybe even learning or higher education. If you're learning more about the arts, you do have the North Node, Uranus stuff going on in your 9th. So if you are studying art, you might be traveling for that, or philosophy or other cultures. But for the most part, I think that this can give you romantic time away if you're looking for it, but also an opportunity to wrap up studies, you know, lose yourself in a really good book or a really great film. And it is going to open up travel for you. If you are traveling, you are one of the signs that might meet someone. And I could see it being possible for that to happen. I also feel like you're wrapping up old storylines in regards to relationships that did not make you feel good. So if you were taking some hits on the self-esteem because something didn't pan out, it's what did you learn from that? And as Venus goes through your 12th house, what is kind of completing there? There can be secret admirers also for you, Virgo, with Venus in the 12th house, and you may not see it or you may not be aware of it. So keep your eyes open with, you know, trines to Jupiter that are happening in your natal 8th house. I feel like there can be some really sexy energies that are going on, but there can also be a lot of taboo stuff and things that might not necessarily seem normal in terms of your love life that's kind of happening, and a lot of it is behind the scenes. Some of you guys also might be finding that there is like a saying goodbye to a woman, or releasing or seeing a transition of a woman. I hate to say that, but it can happen. Sometimes it's, you know, coworkers that depart. Sometimes it is transitions. I say this because Jupiter's in your 8th. That does deal with inheritances or letting go, and Jupiter rules your 4th. So you can be seeing that money can be coming from property, real estate, family, things like that, especially if older women have to go into hospital settings or healing centers. So just keep that in the back of your mind, Virgo. Keep that in the back of your mind. Being that Venus rules your 2nd house of money and your 9th, maybe you're completing something relating to dealing with an estate. Maybe you're hoping to kind of wrap something up in terms of what you need to pay for education. The card that I get is the Page of Pentacles. So this is a great card. It does talk about the fact that seeds are being planted for future financial growth. This can be like you finding out that somebody, you know, sends you something to invest. It can be that somebody is saying, hey, here's a little bit of money, you know, just to go and have fun for a rainy day fund. This is also talking about something that is prized, because the page is like, oh, I've got this. This is mine. If you're new to a relationship and you're not sure if you want to tell the world that you guys are together yet, there can be a sense of proceeding with caution before you know, alert everyone that you're together. But this can also be talking about new opportunities in terms of financial growth that are coming into your life that you are going to be feeling the need to protect in some way. So really positive card. Younger earth signs can pop in here as well. So it can be, you know, other Virgos, or it can be Tauruses or Capricorns. Okay. For Libra, Libra rising, this is important for you because Venus rules your chart. You and Taurus are both ruled by Venus. And you've got Venus going through the sign of Leo in your 11th house. This is warming up anything in regards to friendships. We might see more invitations, more parties, more gatherings, more get-togethers. There can be weddings and celebrations and showers. I also feel like because Venus rules your natal 1st house and your 8th, this is about goals that you have pertaining to having more fun and what you're doing financially within your joint resources to bring about more fun. 11th house is also things that are out of your control, and it can be also just, you know, your social groups and your networks. I think it's going to do well for you. It's going to be interesting to see what happens as it comes into an opposition with Saturn, because I feel like you're having to take a little bit more time away from your own projects. If you are self-employed, if you are in a relationship, if you have children, you're like, you know what? I've been working so hard on that. I need to have more fun. I think Libra risings, the end of August, that is the key here. Because so many Libras have been working so hard with some of the transits that they've been having with Saturn, that if friends are calling you and saying, hey, come and hang out with us, come to this party, come to this club, you're going to feel you're going to be feeling like you're being pulled in other angles. But I think it's a good move, even if you have to spend a little money to go and do so. More friends, more social growth, and I also think appreciation will come from this. You're going to have groups of people speaking highly about you, and people are noticing either all the hard work that you've been putting into a project, or just how hard it's been for you to really set aside, you know, time from your social life to raise a child, to be in a relationship, that stuff. Especially if you've been self-employed in recent years, I think a lot of people are going to be like, wow, look at what you've built or what you've created. Being that Venus rules your 8th house too, there might be goals that you have revolving around changing your appearance or changing your body. You might get some recommendations from friends for cosmetic or surgical procedures. You might also have people that are making recommendations in terms of how you can change or transform your appearance. So if you have a friend that's an excellent hairdresser, if you've got a friend that perhaps know somebody in investing also, that can be coming up in your social circles and be talking about how you can learn more about making big transformations in your joint resources. The card they got for you is the High Priestess. Libra, this is about your vision. So it's like, it's almost as if this is the time where you're going to start seeing what you have been really focusing on come to fruition. And if you have had a problem seeing this clearly, like if you haven't been giving yourself enough appreciation, if you don't really realize how hard you've been working, other people are going to start reminding you. The High Priestess is also saying like what it is that you're waiting to come in. So if you've been anticipating that you are going to be getting an accepting and it like being accepted into a new network or a club, it might be that you're like, yeah, I have a feeling that's going to happen, and then it does. And your intuition is going to be on high whenever the High Priestess comes up. I just feel like in terms of how this relates to your 11th house, it's just you being like, you know, I had a falling out with that friend. I had a feeling they were to come back around. They come back around. Tune into either your goals or your friendship area of your life, because likely you know exactly what's supposed to be playing out and you're just waiting for that to happen. Lots of good opportunities also for Libras in terms of finances as well. So that could be another thing that you're anticipating is going to come as a result of your hard work. Go out and do something, celebrate that at the end of the month. Scorpios and Scorpio risings, you have got Venus going through your natal 10th house of career. This is really active for you, Scorpio, similar to, you know, Taurus and Leo and Aquarius. You guys are going to have sweet and salty aspects. So let's focus on the sweet first. Venus rules your 7th house of marriage and also your 12th house, which is about what is hidden or what you are wrapping up. So it might be that both you or you and a business partner or you and a romantic partner are wrapping up some kind of project, right? Venus goes through the 10th house. It's been something that perhaps has had a few hiccups. It has been something that perhaps has also not been easy, but you've been able to complete it. And now you are going to be able to get more, you know, recognition for whatever it is that you've been working on. I could see Jupiter, you know, receiving trines from Venus in your 6th house. So Venus is going through your 10th house as trining Jupiter in your 6th. As almost like you going like, okay, I've been giving myself to this project. I've been giving myself to this job. I've been doing this thing. And like now I'm really starting to see the results of it. If you are a Scorpio who's been focusing more also on anything in relation to health and wellness, diet, fitness, routine, you're going to start seeing by the end of August, like, you know, that's really coming full circle. People are going to see the results. You're going to start to kind of hear from other people, wow, you look great. What have you been doing? And also if you've just been chugging away, busy at work, people are going to start seeing all the results of that as well. And even if there's been delays, Scorpio, I know there's been delays in these areas, you're going to start to see that it's all going to pay off for you. So professional appreciation, powerful partnerships. I think that as Venus goes through the 10th house, it is merging, you know, you somehow with a relationship. So if you've been seeing somebody, it might become more public, like you might actually go out and start introducing them to people. You might take them to a work party. I could also see this being a challenging time because Venus is going to be squaring your planets. It's also going to be squaring Uranus and opposing Saturn. Like I've said in previous videos, where I can see where Scorpio rising especially, really want to focus on work, they are being pulled in other directions. They've got a partner that's kind of saying, hey, I'm not happy with this. I want to change X, Y, and Z. Then you've got Saturn in your 4th house that's saying, well, there's all these home responsibilities. And you're like, just let me breathe. You know, let me have my 10 minutes of fame. And then I'll go back to, you know, doing whatever I have to do around the house, or I have to, you know, go back to taking care of my spouse. You can get testy, or a family or a relationship can get testy with you if they feel in some way that your projects are outshining them. And you're going to feel like, hey, this is my time. I've been working really hard for this. Like, let me have my moment. But be mindful that other people need you too. So there's going to be a bit of a balancing act that's going on. If you happen to be, like I said, working with a partner or working with a spouse, I feel like it can be better because you guys are sharing that accomplishment together, even though it's putting a strain somehow in your home. So some of you guys are feeling like you're doing so much stuff at home, you're working from home, that it's really kind of limited you and made you feel stuck. Some of you guys have been having to take care of family, and you have a partner that's, you know, out and accomplishing things at work, and you could be like, well, look at what they're doing. What about me? Watch out for that. You don't want to get your feelings hurt. Know that it's definitely paying off for you. And I think it can be something that you can share in your accomplishments with your partner or with the family, right? Everybody wants to be sharing at the dinner table. It's not one person that just talks over everyone. So give everybody some time, but yourself as well. The card that I get is the Fool card. So this is talking about Uranus, okay? Uranus in your 7th house is like, it may feel like no matter what you do for a partner, it's not good enough. And I would say be careful for getting a little rambunctious or getting a little testy, because it can be some stuff that can blow up, especially with your 7th house Lord Venus in a square to Uranus, the ruler of the 4th. there may be a need to do things differently and try things out that you haven't tried before. And it might be new working schedules. It might be new responsibilities around the home, around the house. It might be that you guys are kind of pivoting with, like, you know, who's taking care of kids or who's paying bills. And I'm not going to say you need to, but you benefit from being flexible and trying things out that are new. So everybody's getting an opportunity to contribute. The Fool card promises that you're on to new things. There's new things that are starting here for you. So if it's a new job, if it is a new title, if it's a new status in the world, it's great. It's exciting, even if it comes with the potential for anxiety and kind of concern that you may not be able to juggle everything. But I say you have to take a chance, okay? For Sag and Sag rising, you have got Venus going through your natal 9th house in a fellow sister sign. And this is the ruler of your 6th house of health and wellness and routine. It's also the ruler of your 11th house of friendships. Sag, I feel like this is really positive because Venus going through the 9th house makes me feel like you're going on a trip, or you're arranging your schedule in a way where you can go and spend more time with friends. So if you can't go on a vacation, although I would say try to when you have Venus that's going through your 9th house and it's trining Jupiter in your 5th, oh my God, it's like, that's a wonderful time to like plan a romantic getaway. Even if you can't go because Jupiter's retrograde, you can plan one. So if you can't do one during this time, maybe you're planning it for right around your birthday and you're like, I can't do it now, but I'm gonna do it then. I'm gonna arrange my work schedule in a way that we can do that, and let's invite some friends. This is telling me that romantic getaways are on the table, positive legal blessings, legal documents go forward in some way for you, and it ends up working out just fine. Also, education or publishing could as well. If you need help, right? If you need help at work, if you're having a health issue, if there's a problem with somebody who, you know, you need someone to watch your dog, whatever. Venus with the trines to Jupiter is like, you're going to find people who will help. Friends are going to step in and they're going to help you if you're dealing with any kinds of delays or challenges with your schedule. But I'm really feeling like those of you guys who are partnered, you know, the romantic kind of storyline is expanding now. Those of you guys who are single, book something, go somewhere, do something. You can also, with Venus in the 9th, go and take a course, take a lesson. It can be a good idea to possibly like go a little bit further away, like book a concert that's going to be in another city for a weekend, right? Like that kind of stuff. Because Leo can be going somewhere where there can be like live events and music, or hanging out or playtime. And you might end up meeting somebody, or you might meet somebody who's in your city while they're, you know, on vacation, and they're doing something at the end of, you know, the summer right before they go back home or they go back to school even. So love can be found around 9th house places, colleges, anywhere where you're learning, airports even. So if somebody's making eyes with you at the airport, I'm giving you the green light to say hello, because you're really, with Jupiter and a trine to Venus, you're really going to be feeling this, and people are definitely coming into your life. There's the Ace of Cups. There it is. I had a feeling. Love is, I mean, I'm really excited for Sag and Sag rising. I feel like you guys are going to be very pleasantly surprised. It may even be that people are surprising you, telling you about their plans with you for the bigger picture down the road. Jupiter being retrograde in your 5th house is really expanding your heart. So that's what I love about this deck. This is the after tarot, so you guys see the next scene. Somebody's offering you their heart, or they're you know, really spilling their heart to you and kind of telling you, you know, how they feel, and it's a new opportunity at relationships and romance. If you are partnered, it's basically saying it's going to be an expansion, but any which way you cut it, you can't go wrong. So let me know how that goes, Sag. Very exciting for you. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, you have Venus going through your 8th house in the sign of Leo. Well, Venus traditionally rules your 5th house of lovers, children, and playtime and dating, and also your 10th house that deals with your career. So Capricorn, something's changing, something's transforming, okay? Something's changing about the way that you look at sex or intimacy or joint resources. You may be also reevaluating what you want to do with money, and if you're willing to take chances with money, and if you're looking into making more residual income, because Venus rules your 5th. Now, 5th can be about dating, creativity, self-employment, children. 10th can be about responsibility. So I'm also wondering, Capricorn, Venus going through the 8th house, are you looking at your resources and trying to find ways to be able to pay for things for children? Are you trying to find a way to make extra money? and looking at your bank statements and going like, well, does it make sense for me to have a side hustle? Could I do that in the midst of also what I'm doing with my career? You might be reevaluating your love life, thinking about getting into the dating game. There can be lots of sexy situations that can happen with Venus in your 8th house. People can be more generous. You could see bonuses, changes in love, and I think more passion is kind of the feeling that I'm getting for you personally. There can be lots of love as a result of coming together and merging with another person. And Leo can be about lovers, boyfriends, girlfriends, playmates. It can also be like dressing up and wearing costumes in the bedroom. But it can also be coming together closer with another person as a result of a child or a joint investment, okay? But for the most part, I think bonuses are possible. It'll be interesting to see what happens when Venus comes into an opposition with Saturn. It's like you being like, well, I really want to be able to do this, but I can't afford it. Somebody goes, here you go, have a good time. Or let me help you make that possible. So it's also a great transit sometimes for, you know, applying for credit or loans or business loans, especially if you're wanting to expand something that you're working on and you want to fund that. Page of Pentacles again. So looking good. I think, who else got this? Virgo? Yeah, I mean, okay, it could be children, right? Because you do have the 5th house lord being involved in the 8th, so it can be about pregnancy or children. I have sometimes seen that with the Venus transit. But I think that this is about being like, how do I take a little bit of my money and I invest it to be able to bring in more? Or how can I drum up more resources? You're questioning about that. I could see Venus going into the 8th where you're learning about the markets, or you're talking to an advisor, or you're getting some kind of support or money back or refunded in some way. So it looks like you'll get something. It won't be large, which is expected because, you know, Venus will make the opposition to Saturn, but still it's going to be something that you're going to get. And it's going to be, you know, a nice little something that you can do something fun with. But it's also teaching you that a little bit of money can go a long way. So now we've got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. We've got Venus and Leo going through your natal 7th house. Well, that's a lovely transit. That brings more... It brings attractive people to you. It brings more relationships to you, more sweetness, right? And it's other people who might be more pursuing you because it's the 7th house. Now, Venus is traditionally the ruler of your 4th and your 9th. So it rules your family, your home, your domestic zone. It also rules your 9th house, which relates to travel and being abroad and the higher mind and your belief systems. Wow, Aquarius. Are you possibly considering... being more so open to making a move with somebody else? It could be that you're thinking about moving to be somewhere else with another person, or that you meet someone who lives somewhere else and they're like, can I come visit you? Especially if it's a woman. So if you date women, regardless of your gender, it could be a woman that's like, hey, can I come and see you? I'll make the journey. You know, I want to hang out with you. Be open to that. Because Venus also rules family, I could see that there's good news that's coming from family. Maybe you're anticipating going to visit them. Maybe they're coming to visit you. There's something that brings you guys together in some way. Now, if you're dealing with something in regards to property, right, or an estate, Venus in your 7th house can bring in lawyers, legal teams, advisors, counselors, people who can help you with the process of something in regards to your home and your family. Yes, this is challenging because you are going to see Venus come into an opposition with Saturn in your sign, and you're also going to see it square a bunch of planets in the 4th, where it's like you meet somebody if you are single, but you're like, timing's off, I've got family coming over, or I'm going to be traveling, like I want to see you, but how do we do this? So you're going to feel like it's not as easy to get together as you would like, but by the same token, there is going to be somebody who's going to still be flexible and adamant to see you. Venus going through your 7th house is actually really going to show you that there's lots of interest that somebody has in you, and they're willing to work with you or around your schedule. You might also be just feeling like you need more time to yourself with Saturn in your sign, and you're going through so many changes with your home life or with your career that you're like, how could somebody want somebody like me who's in transition? But stay open, because people who want to love you, who want to support you, are going to be showing up. These are people who may even just be friends. They don't even have to be romantic. Now, it can also, because the 7th house, Leo can deal with relationships with children. It can be that, you know, children are wanting to see you or come to you in some way, and you're like, I don't know, I've got so much stuff going on, like, I don't know how I could see you. So it could cause some friction. So just a heads up there, let people love you, even if it's from a distance, you know, let your walls down, because people are going to come in to kind of help support you as you're going through some of these changes. The card that I get is the 4 of Coins. I was like, wait, what is that? Because I saw the Reaper. I was like, is that the Death card? This tells me that to an extent, it's like, don't hold yourself back purely because of what's happened in the past. Okay, 4 of Coins can be like, nope, I'm not budging. I'm staying here. I'm not sharing. I'm not opening up. Don't hold yourself back because of what has happened in previous relationships, or where you have been hurt or feeling kind of discombobulated recently. There is a need to let love flow, to let things in. And even if you're not seeing somebody, talking to them, you know, being able to go back and forth with them, letting them kind of like lend you, you know, a helping hand in some way, even if it's just talking on the phone. Stay open, because you are moving past whatever has happened in the past. It is possible for you to go deeper into relationships. It is possible also to be frank with people and tell them what's bothering you, what you're worried about. If you're worried about money, resources, if you don't want to open up because it's scary, you will be given the freedom to do that at a distance if you need to. So it doesn't have to feel like it's happening or you're being rushed. Okay, so your lesson is just to focus on opening up, letting love in. Good luck, Aquarius. And now we've got Pisces and Pisces rising. So Pisces, we've got Venus going through the sign of Leo. It is moving through your 6th house, which is about pets, wellness, your diet, your health, your coworkers, your daily routine. This can also be being of service in some way. So being that Venus is the ruler of your 3rd house of communication, and also siblings in your neighborhood, and also your 8th house, I could see this for you as having better mental health, having more positive mental health, being able to communicate much more positively. Maybe you're getting involved in a neighborhood effort. Maybe you are helping out locally with somebody in the neighborhood. You're bringing a pie to your neighbor. You're helping them take their recycling to, you know, the street. And somebody says to you, I really appreciate you, thank you. And they compensate you in some way, because Venus rules your 8th house. So it is possible that just kind of acts of service, or being of service, or helping people, or just doing the right thing, somebody's going to say, hey, thank you very much, I appreciate it, and they're going to compensate you in some way, or they'll give you a gift. We can see lots of positive things going on with the health of pets. Maybe you're beautifying, you know, your space at work. I mean, especially if you are, if you have like a Pisces rising and you're like a Leo or something, I could see, you know, like definitely birthday parties at work, being like, everybody knows it's your birthday and you're wearing a crown at work, and everybody's, you know, bringing cupcakes and gifts, and you get stuff. And it can be much more positive things going on with pets as well. So if you've got, you know, Venus going through that sign, it's going to be all about that. Also with Venus in a trine to Sagittarius, to Jupiter in Aries. Hello, Jupiter's in your 2nd house. This could also mean that you are starting to find that through being of service, or some positive stuff that's going on at work, it's bringing you in more resources. So you might be working a job that gives you benefits and it brings you food. You might be working a job that gives you extra hours and you bring in more cash. So there can be like lots of opportunities for work as Venus goes through the 6th house as well. Watch out also, there can be opportunities for romance at work, romance in the office place. As Venus goes through that part of your chart, it starts trining the 2nd. You might be finding that whoever's being generous with you at work, bosses, coworkers, whatever, there can be a little bit of a crush there. Not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm liking it. I'm liking it especially because for you, Pisces, I feel like any positive communication or reinforcement is going to be really helpful for you this month. I mean, if you're getting birthday cards, if you have any Leo placements, I know you're a Pisces, but if you're getting any birthday cards or get well cards, or yeah, if you're sick, that could be happening. I don't think so with Venus there. If you're getting ready to go to a new job soon, like you can just see that people in the workplace can be giving you more appreciation, and they can be telling you how great you are and how much they appreciate you. And also just really enjoying time with those furry friends and animals. I'm trying trying to think what else Venus through the 6th. Tidying up a little bit can happen, especially in the workspace, or you can also be making changes to a vehicle. So tidying up a vehicle because it rules your 3rd house. So vacuuming it, cleaning it, getting it all ready. Maybe you're putting more effort into spending a little bit more money on your car, getting it, you know, cleaned up, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get it waxed too. That's something else you could do. All right, so let's take a look and let's see what comes up for you, Pisces. Ooh, the Lover's card as well. Interesting. Crossroads for sure. I mean, it's happening in a mutable house, right? The 6th house. So even though it's fixed, it's Leo, the 6th house is changeable. We're changing our environment in some way. So this makes me feel like there can be a little bit of like inner office romance, talking to people maybe. This can also be talking about like getting everything in order and getting your schedule in order and everything. So you can have a little bit more love in your day-to-day. I feel like if it's been all work and no play, then you're like, okay, I need to be taking off Friday early so I can, you know, go and take somebody on a date, or I am making more of an effort to feel like I'm, you know, going and doing a dance class or something that's going to be a part of your daily routine that can be health related. So you're staying active. But the Lover's card makes me feel like this is also talking about the Mars and Gemini transit that's coming, and you're getting ready to have Mars go into your 4th house, and you might be realizing that you're moving soon, or there's something changing within your home. So as that's kind of squaring your placements in Pisces, and also the Mercury retrograde here pretty soon, you're kind of like, I don't understand, everything's changing. Am I gonna have time for a relationship? And it's saying that there's new paths that are opening up right now in terms of your romantic relationships. And that if you're open, there can be another person that appears, or that the universe might have a different plan than what you were planning on. And you might have to make a little bit more time for romance in the next month. All right, guys, hopefully that's helpful. Let me know, where is this transit taking place in your chart? Are you having any major Venus transits on top of your personal planets, especially if you've got any planets really throughout Leo, the Leo sun, moon, and risings? But I think the fire signs are going to really benefit from this because of the trines that you're going to experience. Let me know. I'd love to hear how these Venus transits play out for you, especially with the squares and the oppositions. We're going to be led into temptation, and then we're going to go, ooh, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Certainly the rules revolving around love are definitely changing. So I always remind you guys, when I see any aspects between like Venus and Saturn or Venus and Mars, you know, sometimes it's smarter to love a little bit from the distance. So keep me updated. Let me know what happens. If you guys like my style of readings, if you want to book a reading with me, I'm always happy to see you. Check out my links below. You can find me at beyondtheveiledtarot.com. I'd love to see you for a personal one-on-one session. I hold them live over Zoom, or you can join me on Saturday night. Every Saturday I'm here at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, and we do live readings. Now we're going to be doing live astrology readings this week. So if you guys have questions, if you're coming off of that full moon chaos, come and spend Saturday night with me. I would love to read for you. Otherwise, I will see all of you guys very soon. Enjoy the rest of your week. Take care.